Welcome to my video blog post about blockchain. Today's topic is how can we replace trusted middlemen with blockchain in practice? What does that mean? If we have a transaction, we always have a trusted middleman like a bank in the middle. And with blockchain, as you probably have heard, we can replace those middlemen. But how does that really work? That was a question that I had. So I took a deeper look at a blockchain framework called the Hyperledger Fabric framework, and to understand how we can practically take out a middleman in this transaction. So with this video, I hope to bring in some more clarity and why I chose Hyperledger Fabric. It is the blockchain framework right now for private blockchains, I would say. If you're not familiar with private blockchains, in private blockchains, you can set the rules, so you can decide who enters your blockchain network, and that makes it very attractive for organizations and businesses to use. So let's take a look at an example to understand how we can replace trusted middlemen. For example, we can take the transfer of a car ownership in a Hyperledger Fabric blockchain. And we have on the left side organization 1 and on the right organization 2. Both build a blockchain network. Both organizations have a web application and both have so-called peers. Those peers are just an entry point to the blockchain, so basically just computers. All peers have databases, and both organizations have a so-called orderer. What this orderer does is what I'll explain in the following. Let's take an example. Organization 1 wants to transfer the ownership of a car to organization 2. So what it does, it enters its web application and selects the transaction to do, so transfer the car to organization 2, and submits this transaction. So what we see here is that the web application submits the message, car 1 is now owned by organization 2, and it submits this message to the peers of organization 1 and to the peers of organization 2. Next, all those peers, they take in the message and try to process it. So they access their database and simulate what would happen if I would process this message. So the result of what would happen is the simulation. And this simulation is passed back to the web application. The application then collects all the simulations and all the cryptographic material that each peer adds to the simulation. So each peer adds its signature to the simulation and sends it to the web app. The web app packages everything in a request and sends that to the orderer. The orderer is basically a system that collects incoming messages and just chronologically orders them, so puts them in an order. It takes this message and checks if all the required signatures are in place, and if so, it adds the message to a block. The orderer then checks with the other orderer of organization 2, is the message the same, or also is the block the same? If both see yes, it is the case, the message is the same, they send it. They send a request to all the peers to tell them, okay, please peers, now please write the message to your database. The peers then perform this write action, And that way, we have now the car ownership at organization 2. This is an example how we can use how the Hyperledger Fabric blockchain works to get rid of a trusted middleman. And this, I have to say, is a simplified version. There's more that is added here in the transaction flow. But for simplicity, this is enough to get a sense of how we can get rid of this trusted middleman. So now in blockchain, there's also a lot of talk about the history of all transactions being immutable. So you cannot change past transactions. And this is in some cases relative. So what this actually means will be part of my next video. So I will talk about how immutable the history of a private blockchain really is, and whether it is possible to reverse the history. So is it possible to delete past transactions in a private blockchain? Thank you for watching, and if you have any suggestions or comments, please let me know, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.